Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Friday before Memorial Day, and time for the next video. And I have to start by saying, although I'm a little nervous about doing videos, I have gotten some good feedback about it. So if it serves to communicate what we're doing in the agency and the programs, then I'm willing to put up with it. And if there's some bad feedback and I haven't gotten it, I apologize. But anyway, this is the latest video to give you an update on what's going on in GVRA. And I've got some notes with me, so I want to make sure I cover some key points. And it's probably going to be a little longer video than I would normally do, so please bear with me. First of all, I want to thank Kevin Kelly and all the staff and the workers at Georgia Industries for the Blind for the visit that Jimmy Wilson and I paid last Thursday and Friday to GIB. We spent the 2 days in Bainbridge, and all of you at GIB, you could not have been more hospitable, forthright with your comments. I thought it was a very productive 2 days for us, and I just wanted to extend my thanks and appreciation for all your hospitality and just the great discussion we had. Appreciate it very much. Now let me move into some updates. I'm going to share some updates on all the programs as well as the agency. And I'm going to start with, I just noticed it's not in alphabetical order, but I thought I would start with Disability Adjudication Services, DAS. And I just want to commend the folks there and let the rest of you know that they continue to be a high-performing DDS or DAS within the region in the Southeast as well as nationally. I compliment all of you for the great work that you're doing in processing disability claims and just really doing a neat thing. And then the other update is that they continue to work towards, which is great, hiring 90+ additional new staff at DAS across the state to help adjudicate the number and the volume of claims that they're processing. And just to all the staff at DAS, thank you for doing that. So the goal is they will have hired 90+ additional employees there, hopefully by July the 30th. Moving on to GIB, Georgia Industries for the Blind. It's interesting, for those of you who aren't that familiar with GIB, the majority of their business is federal and state contracts. And so GIB's interest as we look at the new fiscal year is really to begin to explore, to diversify and move into commercial sales, which we're real excited about. Also, they're looking to expand in their services division, if you will, that particular side of the business. So for example, their call center and increasing the services that they can offer through their call center. And they're also looking at doing a partnership with Warm Springs, the potential of actually GIB doing some production contracts at the Warm Springs campus. So we're real excited about some of the things in the future for GIB. In terms of BEP, Raj and her folks, y'all continue to do great work trying to expand the number of possible vendor locations, both federal locations, and they've been working real hard on some of the military bases, as well as some of the state locations, as well as trying to strategize how to attract younger blind vendors into the program who would be interested in doing that. Moving on to Roosevelt Warm Springs, really there's 3 points I want to share with you in terms of updates. We continue to move towards July 1st as the date that the 2 hospitals at Warm Springs will actually be transferred to Georgia Region's University and Health System. They have established a separate company which will be a nonprofit. The name of the company is the Roosevelt Warm Springs Rehabilitation and Specialty Hospitals, operated through the Board of Regents. And everything is going according to plan, and it looks like as of July 1, the staff that have been employees of us at Warm Springs working in the hospitals will actually leave our employ and become employees of this new company. And that's just a great thing for all of us. It'll allow Warm Springs, which is my second point, to continue to transform and focus on their vocational services. And they're doing some really innovative things there in terms of putting together their training programs, their technical education. And so we look forward to really an interesting year as they begin to focus 100% of their efforts on vocational services. A third point I wanted to share with you is really an interesting project that has come up. Some of you may know and some of you may not know, but there's a small 9-hole golf course at Warm Springs. It was actually designed by Donald Ross and opened in 1926 for President Roosevelt. And Donald Ross, as I understand, is a very famous golf course designer. I closed the course several years ago because we couldn't afford to keep it going. Anyway, long story short, in this past legislative session, we got permission from the General Assembly to actually lease the course to the Warrior Alliance. The Warrior Alliance is a nonprofit organization that really is here in Georgia to serve, we used to call them wounded warriors, now we just call them warriors and their abilities, not so much their wounds. And their plan is to do private fundraising to restore the golf course to the original design, make it a world-class golf course using disabled veterans, and then using it as a training opportunity for disabled veterans. Bill Bullock and Kay from Warm Springs and some of us here met with Scott Johnson from the Warrior Alliance here yesterday. Very excited about some of the things that they're looking to do, and it's going to be a great partnership, and so that will be coming and probably starting sometime after July 1st, and so really we're real excited about that. Let me move on to the VR program. This is certainly the program where you probably have heard a lot of changes going on. I just want to highlight a couple of those. First and foremost, we're really and have been taking a look at the structure of the VR administration and leadership, and you all have probably seen some emails from Ed James about some of the changes he's making, which we're very excited about. And we're thinking, how can that help us facilitate serving more individuals and producing increased outcomes? We're also taking a look, and Ed and his team are beginning to look at how the state geographically services are delivered. And so there's going to be some changes in terms of moving from a regional geographic system to something not quite so large, and also at the same time trying to empower more the local field staff to be able to have accountability at that level. Third, we're also expanding how we're going to be serving those populations. Sometimes we refer to them as special populations that have unique needs. You all know we do a great job with blind and deaf right now, and we're looking to add other services in that arena, as well as add services to populations that we may not have focused on as much in the past. Some of those, just to mention a few, are autism. As we all know, that's a fast-growing segment of our population. Mental health, our mental illness, developmental disabilities. And so in all of those areas, VR is going to be hiring some subject matter experts in each of those arenas so that we can do a better job at serving that population. Last point I want to share with you about VR is we've done some interesting things in terms of business relations. As you probably have read, we have hired kind of our two co-directors, if you will, right now in business relations, Rosani Rios and Joe Witherspoon. Joe comes from the private sector. Rosani comes from our own VR program, and we're looking at some real exciting things. And one snippet I'll share with you is that when they changed the law around federal contractor compliance with Section 503 this past March, we've had some great meetings with the Office of Federal Contract Compliance here in Atlanta. We're also looking at doing some interesting things with Office Depot and Office Max, which you'll hear more about. But the whole focus there is Rosani and Joe are really going to help us rethink how we deliver business relations to get greater buy-in from the employer side. At the agency, and I'll just close with these, we are formalizing actually our relationship and want to increase our relationship with consumer disability groups or advocates, and how we actually begin to incorporate what the advocates identify as the needs of consumers with disabilities, so that we can begin to incorporate those ideas on a larger scale to help us plan better how we deliver services. We're actually considering relocating all of our offices here at 2 Peachtree over to Twin Towers. We're hoping to be able to do that probably by the end of August, so we are going to be, we think, leaving 2 Peachtree Street and moving to Twin Towers, and the intent behind that is a couple things. One is we want to shrink our footprint so that there's not as much cost spent in lease, and number two is to allow the VR program to have its own unique space. So more to follow about that. The last thing I want to reference here before I get into some comments about Memorial Day is our goal as an agency, and I know that John has been really putting that almost daily in the daily update, but the goal that we've decided on for the agency is to build an accountable, results-oriented GVRA with the capacity to fulfill our mission. So the key words in that are accountability, results-oriented, and capacity to fulfill our mission. And all of the programs are going to be doing a mirrored version of that, and how their goals for this coming fiscal year will support that. So those are the updates. Let me shift very quickly to my thoughts about Memorial Day, and I've got a couple stories I want to share with you because I know that all of you, most of us, have somebody either in our family or somebody we know that has served in the military. And with Memorial Day being celebrated this coming Monday, I thought it was important. So I thought I would share 3 stories from my life. First, I want to tell you a little bit about my dad. My dad's name was Russell. He served in World War II. He actually started in the Army in what was then, believe it or not, the Horse Cavalry. He later went on to serve in the Armored Division with General Patton as they went across Europe during World War II. It's very interesting. My dad has been gone for a long time now, but growing up I tried to always ask him about his experience in World War II, and he never wanted to talk about it. So it's just kind of interesting, that generation and the experience they must have had. And for my dad, it was something he always held very close and private. Number 2, I had a high school friend when I was a senior in high school named Robert Baumgardner. Robert Baumgardner was drafted in the Army as soon as he graduated from high school, went to Vietnam, and was killed in Vietnam by friendly fire. When I first went to the Vietnam Wall Memorial, his was the name that I etched on paper. And so I have great respect for Robert. He was one of those guys, was kind of the class clown, just a great guy, very popular. Everybody loved him. And then lastly, and I think maybe in the background you can see a picture of my daughter Ann, just to tell you how proud I am of my daughter Ann. My daughter Ann is a clinical psychologist who works at the VA hospital in Columbia, South Carolina, working on the post-traumatic stress disorder unit, the PTSD unit. So I've got 3 examples in my own personal life of people that have served. And so closing on my family and to you and your families, I just want to give you a personal salute to those of you who have served and are veterans, to those of you who have family members, our friends who have served and are veterans, and just the great respect and honor I have for that. So I salute you. And I wish that this would be a great Memorial Day. It's time to remember and to celebrate the service. And so I hope you have a great weekend and a great Memorial Day holiday. Thank you, and I'll be talking to you soon.